Previously. And now black takes back. Katago has to connect because he has no co-threat. And now, just like a double-digit Q level player, Nakane throws in at the vital point, and now Katago squeezes black, really just choking black to death. And now black throws in, goes for the all-in. Katago is hanging by a thread. He only has one liberty. But luckily, he has the co to take, and now he has two liberties. And Nakane has to find co-threat. Does he have a co-threat? Yes, he does. He has this co-threat over here, threatening to connect. If white allows this to happen, black lives, white dies, white dies. So that can't happen. White absolutely has to take the two stones. And now, when black captures back, without a sense of humiliation, Katago decided to play at 1-1. And at this point, Nakane decided to resign.
But their story isn't over. Nakane is playing Katago again, but this time with 6 handicaps.
What is wider than a stream is a river. Wider than a river is the ocean. Wider than the ocean is the sky. But wider than the sky is one man's heart.
So I actually can't believe that I'm talking about a game with 6 handicaps the first time I'm doing this. This looks ridiculously hopeless. But let's see what happened in this game. It's just shocking. Black pincers and white approaches against the other corner. Black attaches on top and white plays the exact same variation on top. So now they play the just exact same variation top and bottom. White attaches into the corner. I've never seen a Joseki like this. And white extends, black extends, and here white plays the Hani, Atari. When black extends, white makes use of the third line stone to capture the star point. So does that mean this is terrible for black? Not really, because black can squeeze Atari and then Atari on top and form a very strong outside. White extends. This is a very crucial move to make sure that white is alive locally. Black takes, and now white attaches into the other corner. Looks like Katago is trying to go for a co-fight, but actually not the point. Katago wants just to turn on the second line and make sure that this group is alive. And then what's crazy about this game is that they played exact same variation on the bottom. So everything is the same. White extends, black takes, and white decides to tenuki. And of course, Nakane is going to take the stone, forcing white to Atari on the second line. Exact same variation top and bottom once again. But as we can see, Katago is able to gain the 2 corners in Sente. So she's slowly closing up the territorial gap. But what about the influence gap, right? It's all out. The outside is completely controlled by black at this point. Black Hanis and white Hanis on top, and black Ataris and white connects. Alternatively, in a professional game, what could have happened is black might actually just cap white here because of how strong black is. So from theoretical point of view, it is probably the best for black to cap white like this. However, because black is playing against Katago, this is probably not a good idea, right? So Katago loves complication like this, and as humans, we just want to chicken out and try to win this game. That's the absolute crazy thing about this game, is that Nakane is trying to do whatever it takes to win this game because it's 6 handicaps. Black Ataris, white connects, and black connects. And here we can see that the right side is secured by black, so it's quite a lot of territory. White double approaches, black attaches, and white double approaches the other corner. Black attaches on top. All these are Joseki moves, so it's very difficult for Nakane to make a mistake. And therefore, both sides played out the Joseki moves. And after these Joseki moves, the mid-game actually starts now. White jumps into the center. This is a very good move. Otherwise, these 3 stones might be under attack. Black pincers, that's a sente. It's looking at the peep over here. And after this exchange, Nakane decides to also pressure the corner over here. White counterattacks, and black goes for the peep. White connects, black curls the stone back, and after these exchanges, black Hani and try to connect through, and of course Katago plays the Atari and Atari to prevent the connection. Black takes and white connects. And here black of course has to prevent white from capping black like this, and white extends on the first line, black connects, and as we can see, white is able to secure the connection underneath. And this tiger's mouth is a must-play move, or else when black cuts over here, the corner is in trouble. Black pushes on top. Here, maybe a better move for Nakane to play is to simply play on, the 8th line. So basically, the idea is trying to control the stone over here and build on the bottom. But I think Nakane, after the game that I talked about where he lost with 5 handicaps, he realizes that he needs to play rock solid against Katago, which is very interesting. White Hanes and black plays the Gosumi in the corner. And now white doesn't even answer this move. So this move gets rid of the ice bay for white, but here it's not so easy for black to directly cut white. Now white plays another beautiful jump, 2-space jump over here, and as we can see, the lead for black is slowly shrinking, which is such an amazing thing, right? It looks like black didn't really play any inaccuracies or mistakes. Maybe this move is a little bit slow, but still, I mean, this is a very big move, right? But after white played in the center, take all the corners, we can see that white's territory is just climbing, and black is not making a great use of the influence on the outside. Very crazy stuff. Next up, we have black blocks. This is aiming at trying to kill the corner, and therefore white needs to add another move to make sure that the corner is going to live. Next up, we have Nakane playing very passive move, trying to chicken out and secure the territory on the bottom. Right? As long as Nakane keeps everything alive and all the territory protected, then the 6 stone advantage is just hard for Katago to catch up. However, after Katago just peacefully play a jump in the center, we can see Katago is still aiming at breaking here.
I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you are, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And if you want to dive deeper and support what I'm doing, check out my Patreon. I regularly post exclusive high-quality content on Joseki's, pro game breakdowns, and even full courses. Stuff you won't find anywhere else. The link is in the description. Thanks so much. Let's continue.
So what Nakane should have probably done in the game is to play the Atari over here. Right? Instead, Nakane decided to go for the counterattack, looking at the weakness that white has over here, which is an okay idea, but since Nakane has chickened out the entire game, why not just be consistent with this idea and trying to win? So I would have played the Atari over here, that's for sure. But Nakane decided to go for counterattack. This move has value, but you have to play very precise when you go into a fight with Katago. Now let's see what Katago can come up with. White attaches, black extends, and now white plays the Hane. These are very good Tetsujis by Katago. It's looking at the extension on the second line. It's also poking at the shape that black has. Black jumps back, making sure his shape is solid, and now white extends on the second line. Black Ataris, white Ataris, and black takes. Here, most of my viewers will probably just turn over here, but this would be a bad move because when black Ataris on top, forcing white to connect, we can see that the center is getting weaker and weaker, and black is all connected. So this would be definitely a big losing game for white. Well, I mean, at this point, it's still very difficult, right? Because the 6 stone lead, but the moves that gives you most chances is when you try to protect the center and start a fight in the center. Black Ataris, white connects, and black connects. The reason black doesn't block here is because white can Atari, and this becomes a ko. And this ko is quite heavy for black as well. If black loses the ko, this group could be under a lot of pressure. So Nakane decided to play solid by connecting, white turns, and all of a sudden, we see that not only white was able to break black's territory, but also this group is not alive because there's no way for black to connect through underneath. So black has to run. Of course, white has to run, but this gives Katago some chances in this game right now because of the choices that Nakane made over here. Black plays the Keima, white blocks, making sure like the groups are connected. Black extends and white pushes, that's a sente, and now white plays another jump to make sure that the groups are connected. Black plays the Keima, white pushes on top, black bumps into white, and white jumps towards the center. Now here, black obviously needs to pull the stone back, not only strengthen the group over here, but also secure the territory on the left side. White jumps. That's a very beautiful move. Not only looking at the cutting point over here, but also trying to is also looking at the Aji that white has over here. Black peeps, white connects, and now Nakane plays the Kosumi, connecting everything. Black is trying to play rock solid, but as we can see, the lead that black has is just shrinking by every move pretty much, right? You can see that the lead is not obvious at all, right? At this point, even if black is leading by quite a lot, you can tell that white is slowly coming back into this game. Next up, we have Katago trying to live in here, which is ridiculous. But actually, this works tactically. Black turns and white plays the double Hani, a very good super Tsuji. Black cuts, white Atsaris, and black takes, and now white connects. And all of a sudden, we see that what was supposed to be black's territory is all broken by white, right? So white was able to pierce through here and also aiming at the life and death issues that black has, right? Could you have imagined that this group would be under pressure for life and death issues? That is just crazy. Now, Nakane found the correct moves to live the group. White turns, and after a time Tsuji, this is a time Tsuji looking at the cut over here, black comes back and live the group over here. So there's an Atari over here, there's a connect over here to form two eyes, and there's also another eye over here. So black is quite safe with this group, thank God. Okay, so Katago can't really kill here. And of course, this group is not under any immediate danger. So the game is getting, how can I put it? The game is getting smaller and smaller. And there's not a lot of places for Katago to fight. So Katago decides to go for the end game. Black blocks, white connects, and black connects. And here, white plays the Keima in the center, which is almost a Sente. So black responds to that threat. White turns in the center. This is a very big move, or else black plays the Hani. The three stones are just dead. Black jumps in the center, and white plays a Tsuji. This is threatening to cut black over here. In the actual game, black comes back to double tap the territory over here. This is a very big move that encloses all the points. If white plays the wedge, then black is not really worried because black can Atari, and cut, right? So white is able to form the center, but if this corner dies, this is not going to be worth for white. So the cutting point doesn't really exist. That's very well played by Nakane. In the actual game, Katago jumps towards the center, and black extends towards the center, breaking the potential territory that white can build here. White now blocks on the second line. This is an absolutely huge move, and black extends into the center. White connects, looking at the life and death issues that black might have over here. Black plays the Kosumi, white blocks, and now black plays an excellent Tsuji, showing that he is a very good player. A lot of us would just be like, oh, I'm scared, so I'm going to like connect over here, making sure I'm alive. But this is a very inefficient move. Instead, what we should do is to extend on the first line, just like what Nakane did, threatening the corner, but also looking at the jump to connect with the group over here. So for example, if white tries to kill this group, then black have at least this monkey jump with the jump to connect under. Okay, in the actual game, white Ataris, that's a Sente, black connects, white Ataris, and black Ataris. And here, white decides to capture the Ko. Instead of trying to fix the issues in the corner, white plays very actively by capturing the stone over here. Black pushes, and white Hani connects absolute Sente. And after white blocks over here, this is a very cunning move by Katago. If black plays somewhere else, instead of playing over here, then there's going to be problems, right? White can extend, and there's only one eye over here. So this could be an issue for black. In the actual game, black turns on top, forcing white to extend, and now black plays the tiger's mouth. This gives not only connects black, but also gives black the possibility to make another eye in the center. So black's group is fine. White peeps in the center, black pushes, and white blocks. And here, black decides to take the Ko back, threatening the corner once again. White Ataris, black connects, and white takes once again. Black cuts, Atari, and take back. And here, white decides to go for the all-in. She bumps over here, looking at the push that creates a miai later on. But at this point, Nakane decides to go for, not for the kill, but threatening to kill white's corner. And Katago goes insane here, right? Like, Katago knows that she's behind, and therefore she blocks over here. This takes so much courage in an actual human game, because after Nakane plays the Atari here, white is going to have to try to survive the corner. White takes, black pushes, that's a sente. If white connects, then black extends into the 2-2, then white is going to lose this liberty fight. That's why in the actual game, Katago has to defend. Black takes, and white extends on the second line. If black captures, that would be a blunder, because white can simply squeeze over here, and black doesn't have enough ice space, and therefore this whole thing is just getting killed. And that would be game over for black, actually. In the actual game, black defends, and white takes. Black turns, white connects, black takes back, and white keeps using the code threat over here. These are all these code threats must be answered. White takes, and black Ataris. When black Ataris, white decides to Atari, and this is a sente, or else white pushes over here, black doesn't have enough ice space. So black defends the center, forming an eye, and making sure this group is just fine. White captures over here. When black takes back, white takes in the center. This is not a co-alive for black if black doesn't answer, because white can simply Atari, and break black's eye. Therefore, black comes back and captures the 2 stones. White takes back, and black pushes over here. Nakane is running out of code threats, and therefore he just plays a big move over here, threatening to Hane. White connects, making sure the corner is all good, but then black Hanes on the first line. White plays another Atari, right? Instead of connecting back, Katago is absolutely crazy right now, right? Because she knows she's behind. Black connects, and white doesn't even answer here. That's the insane part. The reason you can't really answer is because Katago was worried about black attaching over here. Looking at the cutting points, if white gets cut off, then there's not enough ice space for white to live. So what white played made a lot of sense. It's important to connect the group. Black Taris, white captures. And now when black claims, Katago realizes that she doesn't have enough code threats to answer this. And therefore, she connects, black pushes, white plays the wedge, black turns, and white connects. And the double Ataris come in, white Ataris from behind, black captures, and white Ataris once again. Here, black connects, and white connects over here with a sente, forcing black to capture. Next up, we have Katago. So the result of this is that white was able to gain some profits in the corner thanks to capturing this ko, and white was also able to connect back to the big group. And these 2 stones kind of hurt the territory for black as well. And all of that to compensate for what black gained over here. So this is not really a loss for Katago. It's just that the game is getting more and more towards the end, and it's a little bit difficult for Katago to come back at this point. Black connects, and here white plays the bamboo to make sure that these 3 stones are connected. So this would be slightly bigger, right? Like if you play like this, then black can think about capturing the 3 stones over here. All right, so when black plays the bamboo, white plays bamboo, black attaches. That's a very good Tsuji by Nakane. So black was able to pull the stone back in sente, forcing white to prevent the wedge over here. And now black comes back to capture the 2 stones, the biggest move in the game. White captures, and black decides to hop back here. It's important to stay connected. And white bumps into black, black extends, and here white decides to take back, giving it a final shot, looking at the weaknesses that black has over here. Black, of course, realizes the danger, and therefore he plays an extra move to secure the territory. White plays an exchange, and another exchange, and a bunch of exchanges. At this point, white comes back to take a very big move over here. Black takes, white Ataris, and black doesn't even bother with the ko over here, and simply Hane Connect. This Hane Connect has a lot of value because it leaves a wedge over here. White Ataris, black captures, and here white goes for the final fight. She is trying to go into the territory, place the wedge, forcing black to Atari, and then mysteriously white cuts on the fourth line, trying to make use of black's weakness. Nakane makes an eye. That's a very solid move. White extends, and after the take and connect, at this point, black makes another eye to make sure there's nothing going on in here. And after white takes, black goes for the wedge. So here white cannot really Atari here because when black extends, this becomes at least a ko, right? If you play here, then that's not even a ko because black can play Kosumi and it's black kills white. Of course, you want a ko. That's unacceptable because you have to play it like this, and as we can see, this is not going to work for white. So white has to Atari from the second line, black connects, and here Katago is giving it a final try. So at this point, black is probably leading about 15 points on the board, right? After paying the Komi, then it's like black is going to win by 7.5 or even 8.5 points. But as we can see, going from a 6-stone lead, which is theoretically like 72 or 74 points lead, all the way to only a 8.5 points lead. If the board was slightly bigger and slightly longer, I don't think Nakane was able to hold this. It's just so crazy stuff from Katago. Okay, so white Ataris, let's see what's happening over here. Is there anything for Katago? When black takes, Katago decided to resign at this point. But if the game was going to play on, white pushes, black plays just extension. And of course, if you push a bunch of times, black is going to connect on the first line. And of course, there's absolutely nothing going on this side. And this group is also just dead. So there's nothing inside black's territory. It's a very clean kill inside. So, oh my god, this is an insane game. 6 handicaps. I'm just like very impressed. And I thought it would be just a slaughter, right? Like, because you have 6 stone advantage, you can probably slaughter anyone, right? But then when your opponent's Katago, it's not so sure anymore because Katago is just a god. It's just insane. As we can see that white played so many good moves, trying to catch up to black, but the 6 stones seem to be a little bit too much for Katago. But still very impressive. Shrinking the lead all the way to about 7 points to 8 points is just an insane task against a 9P professional.